The film's main character, Tae-Sik, owns a business where he exchanges money for people's valuable possessions. When someone demands the return of his belongings, he does so with a markup rate. He was a quiet man who only worked and did not interact with others. Although Tae-Sik doesn't talk to anyone, a small girl named So-mai who lives in his neighborhood considers him a friend. He is bonded to her in some way. Hyo-jeong, So-mai's mother, is a bar dancer and a heroin addict who lives with her. She steals a packet of heroin drugs instructed by her partner and hides it in a camera bag before handing it over to Tae-Sik to conserve this heroin. Tae-Sik remains unaware of the fact that it includes heroin. When leader Jae gets to know of the theft, he assigns two brothers, Man-seok and Jong-seok, to find and arrest Hyo-jeong, a bar dancer who stole the packet. Jong-seok finds the thief. Hyo-jeong, on the other hand, removes her daughter out of the room while on drugs since she isn't a good mother. So-mai afterward goes to Tae-Sik and asks for a sleep because her mother has thrown her out of the room. Tae-Sik lets her in and offers her a bed for the night. So-mai expresses her gratitude to Tae-Sik. She asks Tae-Sik, jokingly, "Do you know what the people call you? Because you seem scary and stay the same all the time, they call you a ghost," but Tae-Sik asks her to sleep, and then he goes to sleep. Hyo-jeong's boyfriend, on the other hand, instructs her to return the packet because it belongs to a drug cartel. He tries to explain to her that if she didn't return the packet, they would kill her, but she refuses. The next day, Tae-Sik finds that So-mai has painted an emoji on his nails, and he smiles. So-mai is beaten up by a woman one day, and when the police question her, she claims she was attempting to steal her son's backpack. At a distance, Tae-Sik observes her, but So-mai claims that she wasn't stealing the bag, but rather comparing it to his. Police demand her parents' phone numbers so they can alert them, and So-mai observes Tae-Sik and points to him, so police consider Tae-Sik her father, but he runs away. When So-mai arrives in the evening, she meets Tae-Sik, who wonders whether she's crazy for pointing at me. So-mai responds that everyone, even her mother, considers her insane, and I hate everyone. Because you're my only friend. If I dislike you, I'll be left with no friends. After saying this, So-mai walks away. When So-mai arrives home, she sees that a few people are torturing her mother, and it turns out that they are members of the drug cartel who have come to take their heroin packet. Jong-seok had tortured her to the point where she tells him that their next-door neighbor Tae-Sik has the packet. Later, Jong-seok kidnaps So-mai and her mother, and his subordinates break the lock of Tae-Sik's shop to steal a heroin packet. Meanwhile, Tae-Sik arrives, and Do-chai tosses his knife at him, threatening to return Hyo-jeong's camera bag. Do-chai is frightened when he distracts for a while Tae-Sik points at him with his knife. While his friend Bear tries to beat Tae-Sik defeats him easily. Do-chai and his partner couldn't control, so he called Jong-seok and tells him that he was in trouble. To check everything, Jong-seok sends Ramroan, who gives Tae-Sik a phone on which he hears So-mai is threatened to be killed by him if he didn't return the bag to her. Tae-Sik becomes frightened and turns the bag over to them. They find the heroin in the camera bag, and Do-chai leaves and his partner becomes faint after being beaten by Tae-Sik, and Ramroan kills Bear when he reclaims his senses because he dislikes him. Later on, according to Jong-seok's orders, Ramroan hands over the phone to Tae-Sik. Tae-Sik is confused by the fact that he has returned the heroin bag to them, yet So-mai and her mother have yet to be released. As a result, he approaches them, but they have already taken So-mai and her mother. Tae-Sik informs the police of this, and the police ask his address, which Tae-Sik refuses to provide because he is implicated in the murder of Bear. Tae-Sik receives a call the next day on the phone that Ramroan left for him. On the phone, Jong-seok and Man-seok tell him that if he wants to keep So-mai and her mother alive, he must perform a task for them, which Tae-Sik agrees to. Later, Tae-Sik is instructed to take a bag from a car using this phone, and he receives the number via SMS. Tae-Sik does the same, taking a packet of heroin from a locker and presenting it to Jae, asking for the release of So-mai and her mother. After witnessing all of this, Jae is shocked because he had assigned Man-seok and Jong-seok to return the packet. He is unaware that Man-seok and Jong-seok have taken possession of the heroin supply. Man-seok and Jong-seok, on the other hand, inform the police about their drugs dealings. Later, they call Min Jae and explain that it isn't like this what you had thought about us, and that now that your time is out, we will no longer follow you. We can see that Man-seok and Jong-seok arrest Min Jae and take over his properties. Min Jae rags and beats Tae-Sik a lot while listening to this, and the police come and arrest them all. Tae-Sik tries to catch up with Min Jae, but he manages to flee from the police and Tae-Sik. Later, Tae-Sik is shocked when he sees the dead body of So-mai's mother, whose body parts have been removed. Police arrest Tae-Sik for removing her body parts and transporting him to the police station. Officer Kim tries to know about Tae-Sik, but he can't since his file is locked. Tae-Sik realizes that he must go to save So-mai. He informs the officer that he is left-handed and that he will be eating with his left hand. Tae-Sik fights and flees as the officer releases his handcuffs, while Ramroan, on the other hand, kills Min Jae under Man-seok's orders. Tae-Sik uses the phone handed to him by Ramroan and tries to inquire about the phone from a shopkeeper. The shopkeeper does not inform him that the phone is illegal, but Tae-Sik threatens him and gives him the visiting card of his boss. After receiving the boss's visiting card from the shopkeeper, Tae-Sik arrives there. Officer Kim's 6 friends become hospitalized beaten by Tae-Sik, and he unlocks his files. He learns afterward that Tae-Sik was a military intelligence officer who excelled at hand-to-hand combat and firearms. Tae-Sik arrives at Man-seok and Jong-seok's location, and Man-seok appears to be watching Tae-Sik. But Tae-Sik is unaware that he is Jong-seok's brother. However, Man-seok is aware of this and alerts his brother. Tae-Sik shows Do-chae the door and inquires about So-mai, but he refuses to answer, and Tae-Sik stabs him in the shoulder with a knife. In the meantime, Ramroan enters and kills Do-chae in a crossfire, but a bullet also hits Tae-Sik. They leave after giving Tae-Sik a new phone. Police arrive and attempt to arrest Tae-Sik, but he flees by stealing a car. Man-seok and Jong-seok, on the other hand, sell So-mai to an elderly woman who takes her and locks her in a room. This lady actually gets drugs from these children and returns them to those who remove their organs and kill them. On the other hand, a former military friend of Tae-Sik helps Tae-Sik in removing the bullet from his body. Here we learn about Tae-Sik's past, including the fact that he had a pregnant wife who was murdered by an intelligence officer from another country. He also fires at Tae-Sik, but he survives, and Tae-Sik is left alone after that day. He has his little companion, So-mai, at the moment and does not want to lose her. Tae-Sik trims his hair and gets his friend's gun before returning to the city to find So-mai. Tae-Sik chases such children who supply drugs and follows them to a basement. When Tae-Sik arrives, he discovers Jong-seok doing drugs and supplying children with tasks. Tae-Sik beats him. Later, he phones Man-seok and threatens to kill his brother if he harms So-mai. Tae-Sik brings the children out and kills Jong-seok. Later on, Ramroan comes here to remove the body organs of a girl. So-mai discovers a bruise on Ramroan's head and applies bandages, which makes Ramroan feel odd because he is an evil person. But she continues to apply bandages. So he takes So-mai to the surgeon, who removes the body organs, then feigns her and removes her eyes, which Ramroan gives to this to Man-seok. On the other hand, Tae-Sik approaches Man-seok and inquires about So-mai. He throws So-mai's eyes and says, "This is your So-mai." Tae-Sik begins to cry, but then rags and kills everyone in the area, forcing Man-seok to flee. Ramroan is the one who left, and he is a knife specialist, but not as good as Tae-Sik, which is why he is killed by him. Tae-Sik stops his car and shoots Man-seok before he can flee, but luckily, his car is bulletproof, so he remains safe. Man-seok contacts the police, who apprehend them all, but Tae-Sik continues to fire at the bulletproof mirror of the car. He also murders Man-seok by shooting him in the head with the gun, but Tae-Sik feels heartbroken. He is saddened by the loss of So-mai, but in the meanwhile, he hears So-mai's voice and hugs him warmly. Later, the police arrive and arrest Tae-Sik. While Tae-Sik begs Officer Kim to stop the car at the stationery shop, they pull off to the side of the road near the shop, and Tae-Sik gives So-mai all the school belongings. Later, he advises her that she must now do everything on her own because she will be taken. He asks Somai for a hug, which she gives him tightly, causing him to cry, and the movie concludes here.